this point right now, there's an interesting portion of the segment, and we'll get into some of the other individuals, but I'd like to take this time to introduce to you, who will again come in and out of the balance of today's event, who has come here from Delray, Florida, who has a TV program that many of you watch daily, Monday through Friday on Trento Vision, and he is the executive director and founder of what is a very powerful program that conveys a message about what needs to be done in our history and our culture, and also our awareness of what is happening in our country in regard to Sharia law, in regard to jihad, and the almost foremost authority on terrorism. I'd like to introduce who is now a very dear friend, who has participated long distance across the state, if you will, in helping getting this launched, and has been following this event over the last couple of years. And I'd like to introduce you to my friend and yours, Tom Trento.
American Airlines Flight 11, Boston to Los Angeles, 81 passengers. United Airlines 175, Boston to Los Angeles, 56 passengers. American Airlines 77, Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles, 58 passengers. United Airlines Flight 93, Newark to San Francisco, 37 passengers. 251 passengers plus 4 crews 12 years ago, right now, entered a moment in history, unaware to them that morning, unaware to their families, unaware to their friends, unaware to the world, that indeed that moment on that hallowed day 12 years ago, the world and this country as we know it would change. Do not leave this Patriots Park without walking to that monument, putting your hand on that monument, and recognizing individuals motivated by that event and the death of 251 passengers and nearly 3,000 innocent Americans. Do not leave this park without touching that black granite and asking yourself the question, what does it take for a man or a woman to volunteer by their own volition to step forward and engage in an activity that may indeed result in your name being engraved in granite? Good morning, Tom Trento here to say hello to everybody. How you all doing today? What's going on? We got the North over here. You alive, North? Can we hear you a little bit? We got the North over here and the South over here. Say hello, South. Is this a beautiful day or what? It's a solemn day without question. It's a hallowed day without question. And we're here to recognize those elements. But I would be remiss standing in front of flags at half-mast. I would be remiss if I didn't also challenge everybody here to recognize that this is a day of anger, of indignation. This is a day of righteous anger, righteous indignation. What took place and what is taking place is no small feat, no small activity. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the definitive battle on in the epic of mankind ever. We are in a battle that has the capability to bring about, no hyperbole here, to bring about the end of the world as we know it now. And there is a determined enemy, unknown by this administration, and sadly the administration before, unknown in its essence. Terrorism, that's not the definition of what we're fighting. Extremism, not the definition of what we're fighting. I don't know about you, but those of you who have served here know it's difficult to defeat an enemy you cannot name. We are in a battle where more names will be engraved on more granite in this country, and the prospect of winning going forward, as I see it and many others that do the work I do, is slim to none in terms of defeating this enemy. You see, this enemy, which is Islam, I'm not qualifying radical Islam or Sharia Islam. The enemy is Islam. It's not our job to tell Islamic scholars that they're wrong in their belief about Dar al-Hijra, Dar al-Islam. One of the doctrines of Islam is Islam, not radical Islam or moderate Islam. Islam, one of the doctrines, one of the defining elements of that system, and Islam is primarily a governmental political system with a religious veneer. It is dedicated, when you apostatize as a Muslim out of Islam, you become an enemy of the state, a traitor, because Islam is a state supremacist totalitarian system. What I'm saying right here is unknown to John Brennan, the head of the CIA, unknown to him. It's unknown to Valerie Jarrett, chief advisor, and Susan Rice, to this president on national security. Islam, by its doctrine, by its scholars, is in a constant state of war. Dar al-Harb, constant state of war against the West, the infidel, the Jews, the Christians. Until we understand and have a war footing that is constant, the enemy will prevail. Maybe not kinetically, but there's a cultural Islamic jihad going on in this world, equally, if not more deadly and dangerous to Western civilization. And you will see it today manifested in kumbaya interfaith meetings, where the Islamic subtle infiltration, IO, influence operation modalities are taking place. I know I'm hitting you with a lot of stuff today, but we would be remiss for those names engraved on that granite and for whom those flags are flown at half-mast if we did not honestly speak out about the war that we're in the middle of, folks. Time I have here. Check the clock. Okay, a couple of points and then we will move on. It is critical as humans. I happen to be a Christian. It is critical as a Christian to make a distinction between the system of Islam and a human being who is a Muslim. I am commanded and I desire to love all people. I do not hate, though I'm listed by the United States military as a hate organization. I'm listed by our group here, and some of our guys are right here, the Southern Poverty Law Center, as a hate organization. We only hate individuals that hate that flag and want to destroy the Constitution. It's the only people we hate. They could be any religion. They fall into that. They're my enemy. Everyone here, ideological enemy. And if it escalates to the kinetic component, as it has, as it does, then we're doing everything we can to keep that from happening here. There is a love and concern, and if you watch our show and the United West Counterterrorism Organization, we're always talking about assisting and helping Muslims who want to leave the death cult in many respects of Islamic Jihad and come over to the United States, assimilate, be part of this country like my parents and grandparents did coming over from Italy. Any Italian people? Any Italian people there? All right. Macaroni at 12 o'clock, all right? And we're here. We've done that. We've worked with Muslims who have left Islam and converted or not converted out. And I have a public standing offer. Any Muslim anywhere that needs help, it's very difficult to get out of that system. We're here to help them. So we don't hate Muslims. We hate an ideology that is committed by doctrine. It's factually necessary. In fact, if you have taken an oath as a military member of this country or an elected official, you do not have an obligation not to understand the threat doctrine of Islam. You are mandated by federal law to factually understand the threat doctrine of Islam. And when you excise out of the intelligence and military lexicon in 2009 the words jihad, the words Muslim, the word Sharia, and you hand tie and handcuff some of the best warriors on the face of the earth, top tier team, SEAL Team 6, Aaron and Brian Bill, engraved over there, and Benghazi. When you handcuff by ridiculous rules of engagement, if you're trained to be a warrior, to defend Americans and kill the enemy, and you go and do State Department functions of winning the hearts and minds, the enemy laughs and wonders where the lethality is in America anymore. America has lost its lethality as a doctrine of warfare, though the warriors choose to implement the doctrine of lethality engaged in combat. And for you folks involved in activism here in the States, there's a lethal doctrine of ideological warfare to defeat the Sharia-compliant Islamic doctrine in the schools, in the churches, in the elected arenas. A lot to do. But federal officials, from the president down, are not allowed to not factually understand the doctrine of Islamic Jihad. Once you understand it, you'll be in a better position to defeat it, which we're not. A couple of points I'd like to leave with you. I am getting weary, very weary, of hearing the president and others say that America is war weary. War weary. I don't know what war weary means, but I do know this. When the enemy has a doctrine of eternal warfare against you and has targeted you, you don't have the luxury of being war weary, particularly if you are the commander-in-chief. Those words should never come out of the commander-in-chief's mouth. War weary can be reversed very quickly. Let the boys go, the SEAL teams. Let the Rangers go. Let the Marines Force Recon go. Let these guys do what we've trained them to do in theater, and the dynamics of this kinetic battle worldwide, because guess what? As much as the commander-in-chief hoped Al-Qaeda was gone, Al-Qaeda's not going anywhere. It has to be defeated, killed continually, and there's ways of doing that. All right, just one last point here. Over here in the United States and in the West, but primarily here, and particularly in this state, we have been infiltrated by an organization called the Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood is a for real organization. They're card-carrying people, and they have a doctrine. It's been printed, they live it, they breathe it, and right now there's at least 6 card-carrying members of the Muslim Brotherhood. And when we were saying this 2 years ago, Trento, you're crazy, you're a conspiratorialist. But now, as the Brotherhood has fallen apart in some places in the Middle East, it's advancing here. There's 6 card-carrying members of the Brotherhood in the White House, influencing this commander-in-chief in terms of his foreign policy and military doctrine. That's why you're seeing the kerfuffle and the nonsense going on in Syria right now. Syria should be we should sell tickets to Syria and show how Islam qua Islam, Sunni versus Shia, kill each other as they have for 1,400 years. The West should look at that and say, this is what Islam is. What right do any of these people have coming into the United States and telling us how to run our country? Muslim Brotherhood has infiltrated America. I have with me a few of the books that myself and some others put together. Sharia, The Threat to America. At the end, we're going to sell those. But I have 50 copies of Obsession, Radical Islam's War Against the West. You can have these for free. These 2 books will give you a phenomenal intellectual and analytical understanding of the Islamic Jihad war we are in. Ladies and gentlemen, for the sake of those flags, of that granite, I pray that there's more individuals that step up like Gene Sweeney. Let's give him a rousing round of applause. And where is Honey? Is Honey anywhere? Where is Honey? Honey is the honey part of Gene. Behind every great man, there's a greater woman. So.
You'll be back. Don't go away. He'll be back. Also with these books, I'll be providing a free Funk and Wagnall dictionary so you can understand some of the words that Tom shared with you. He's a lot. If political correctness bothers you, you have to look inside. It's what it's about. We can't candy coat it. We're here, and it is what it is. Also about an oath that Tom referred to, there is no expiration date on an oath.